Let's watch Robert Reich talk about the second Gilded Age and what Trump is actually trying to accomplish in this country right now.
Donald Trump wants you to think that he's bringing back the golden age of economic prosperity of the 1950s and 1960s.
This will be indeed the golden age of America.
Thanks,
it's coming
Fish.
back. We're going to come
you.
back very strongly.
But in reality, he's dragging us towards something else. The Gilded Age of the 1890s. Pop quiz.
That's so funny too, because like he literally says those years. He says between 1870 and 1913, right? Like he constantly tells his MAGA supporters 1870 to 1913 were the best years. And I'm like, anybody that fucking went to school and learned history knows that like that was an extremely bad time for just being an average American, and it was great for wealthy people. Like the instability between 1870 and 1913 for middle-class Americans was so crazy that at some points they were like, wow, we're doing really well, and they go buy a house, and then like 2 years later it would foreclose. It's a lot like what just happened with COVID. Same shit, right? Like people, they get flush with the stimulus because that's what the government does. They buy houses that were far outside of their ability to own them in such an unstable economy. 2 years later, they get foreclosed on, right? It's crazy that Donald Trump can say straight up to his supporters the years that he thought were great, and these fucking people won't even go and look at what happened between 1870 to 1913 to determine whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing for them.
Which of these would you prefer? But in reality, he's dragging us towards something else. The Gilded Age of the
FDR fixed all that
1890s.
shit.
Pop quiz. Which of these would you prefer? Dirty meat or meat that's safe to eat? Deadly working conditions and no weekends off? Or safe working conditions and spending time with friends on a Saturday?
I love
If you pick
Tesla.
dirty meat and deadly working conditions, well, then the Gilded Age is the choice for you. But seriously, nobody wants this. Except apparently Donald Trump.
You know, our country was the strongest, believe it or not, from 1870 to 1913.
See? What did I say? What did I say?
That's because the Gilded Age
What'd I
was
say?
dominated, both
I
economically
say?
and politically, by a privileged elite,
Robber barons.
largely at the expense of everyone else. You want to know the main
I love
difference
the poorly
between Trump's
educated.
Gilded Age and the prosperity of the 1950s? Worker power. During the Gilded Age, organized labor was weak, corporations were largely unregulated, and inequality was rampant. Thanks to the efforts of progressive reformers and organized labor in the first half of the 20th century, workplaces were safer, and workers gained more bargaining power. By 1954, 35%.
And Trump hates unions. Like, if you're a union member and you voted for Trump, you're a moron. I'm sorry. If you feel like you made a mistake and you fucked up by doing that, just learn from it, man. Just fucking like realize Donald Trump ripped up protections for union members in the federal workforce. He ripped up protections for union members that were veterans. Like the TSA, same shit, man. Ripped up protections. If you vote for Donald Trump and you're in a union, you're not a smart human being. Jesus Christ.
Of American workers in the private sector were union members. Corporate taxes were around 50%. And the top marginal tax
Lady
rate
luck.
on the wealthiest
Have a
Americans
good day, luck.
was 91%. In the 3 decades that followed
Swish
World
right
War
behind
II, America created the largest middle class the world had ever seen.
Yep.
During those years, the earnings of the typical...
And isn't it crazy that we don't talk about doing that? Like, how fucking insane are people? Donald Trump's like, the best time that ever existed was 1870 to 1913. And these people are like, hell yeah, it was. Oh my God. Meanwhile, there's literally a portion of Americans' history that was the greatest time to be somebody in the middle class. And because it coincides with progressive values, because it coincides with Franklin Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, whichever progressive president you want to call out, during their fucking tenures. Like, to be middle class, it was actually good for you. And instead of saying to themselves, man, that would be the time I would like to go back to. Man, I would love to go back to when middle class people were doing really well. Instead, these dumb motherfuckers are like somewhere between 1870 and 1913. That's the sweet spot.
I love the poorly educated.
American worker doubled, just as the size of the American economy doubled. The country, while still imperfect, shrank inequality dramatically. That is exactly what Trump and his Republican allies want to roll back. He wants the rich to be richer, unions to be weaker, and everyone else to be easier to exploit. Next time you hear him talking about how much wealthier Americans will be thanks to him, remember that he's not talking about you.
Thank you, Robert Reich. Luckily, there are still some people left that have a voice, that are speaking out and helping to educate people. Because I don't know what this fucking world would be like without Robert Reich or people like Robert Reich. It'd be pretty goddamn sad. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And check out that video on the screen now.